We've got an update on Warhammer 40k involving Henry Cavill. We're going to get into that right now on the Sundowners Club. We've been talking about Henry Cavill and the Highlander reboot. We've been talking about Henry Cavill and Argyle. Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher. Could Henry Cavill be James Bond? And we've talked about Warhammer 40k, which you know a lot about, and Henry Cavill's involvement with that. And now we have some updated news. And you always like to say, is that official or is it unofficial? Because it's not really official until it's official. And we've got an announcement today, according to IGN, on Games Workshop, who Games Workshop owned Warhammer 40k, right?
They do, yes. Yep.
So putting out the gaming. And Amazon had made an announcement a year ago that they were working to secure the rights to this. And Games Workshop has come out today, and they've announced that it is full steam ahead. They have a deal inked in place with Amazon to build out the universe of Warhammer programming, and it's going to involve Henry Cavill, which does not surprise us. And while we're covering all things Warhammer 40k, make sure to hit the subscribe button so we can continue to grow our channel and our content. According to Games Workshop, they've confirmed that they've signed a full agreement contract with Amazon, and the next stage can begin. And IGN goes on to say something that I thought was a little bit interesting, is that they're talking about getting this first script written and then into production, and they say it's unclear whether the project should kick off with a movie or a TV show. Games Workshop teases it may end up doing both first. So let's stop right there. Games Workshop, they kind of need this good press, first of all.
Right.
They've gone through a lot of turmoil as a company in the last couple of years, during the pandemic and now outside of the pandemic. What do you think about they have a deal in place, it's signed, and now they've made a comment that we could get both. We could get a series and a movie.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, there's tons of books for them to work off of. So, I mean, this will probably be based off pre-existing material. There's tons of content to pull from. As far as TV shows and movies go, there's very little to choose from. I mean, the best Warhammer movie's a fan-made movie. So, I mean,
well, they're paving new ground, right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is... it could be great. I mean, Amazon's handled some series pretty poorly. We weren't big fans of the Lord of the Rings show. So
awful.
But then you have like The Boys, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah,
so
Boys is good.
I really think it comes down to the fact that Henry Cavill's actually a Warhammer fan, which I think helps.
And look at it, and he's taking the bad taste in his mouth and experience from The Witcher to Warhammer. Yeah. Now, he's got other projects in between then, but...
He's got that producer role, though, so that gives him a lot of power as far as, like, casting.
Yeah, no way is he walking into another situation like he did with The Witcher.
Right.
Not going to happen.
So I think you have somebody that's passionate in charge of the product. You've got probably a huge budget, I would expect. Amazon has deep pockets. So, I mean, it should look incredible at least, which, you're going to need... Good CGI, good effects.
It's a different genre, but they have a massive hit right now with Reacher.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill, Alan Rickson, like Jack Reacher, Henry Cavill, they can tap into that demographic.
He would make a perfect Space Marine.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. So I think it's all about numbers. It's all about money. And so I think having Henry Cavill on board brings credibility.
There's a lot of
star
potential.
Power.
I mean, it could launch Amazon. If it's successful, it could be by far their biggest franchise. I don't think
massive IP.
They spent a ton of money on Lord of the Rings. From a rating standpoint, I think it was a huge flop.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Spent way too much money not making it
like
back.
70% of the people didn't finish it. But I mean, that's the thing with Amazon is if a show flops, I mean, ultimately, what do they lose though? I mean, they make their money off Prime memberships.
They lose the production money and they lose whatever they paid to secure the rights.
But I mean, are you going to cancel your Prime membership if a show sucks on Amazon? No, exactly. No one is. But are many people going to, sign up for Amazon for a good TV show? Maybe. But, that's the thing. They have deep pockets, nothing to lose, and hopefully they'll do a good show. But We'll
So
see.
when we're talking about Henry Cavill, and you were talking about Alan Rickson that plays Jack Reacher is Space Marine. You know, one of the things that Cavill talked in this article, IGN references that he spoke in 2021 about interest in playing one of the Primarchs or Captain Generals, who are high-ranking key characters from the Warhammer mythos. The thought was that it would be Guilliman. And so we could have him in that type of battle general role. We don't know who Henry Cavill's going to play, but obviously it would have to be a main character, somebody that they can build from. But we don't know yet. Is he going to be in a movie? Is he going to be in a series?
He could play. He could play the actual Emperor. They could go all the way back to the very beginning.
Absolutely. And you know, Henry's one of the few, a small list of actors that has had hit TV series and had movies. You know, he's not in one or the other. So I could see Henry Cavill possibly doing both. But, you know, I think with his schedule being so full with Argyle and Highlander and everything
Well, there's
coming
a
out.
large timeline 40K covers. I mean, you could have, you know, the TV show could cover one time period. The movie
Like
could take place.
old age types.
Yeah, I mean, the movie could take place hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
There's no telling how they'll do it. But if they do it right, I mean, they could do endless TV shows, spin-offs, movies. I mean, this could be their main franchise. We've talked about all these streaming services want major IPs, and this could be Amazon's.
Yeah,
if it's done right.
You know, this is good news because even though Amazon had made some announcements around their intention with Warhammer almost a year ago, the agreement is signed. Games Workshop has made the press announcement. IGN and other sites have picked it up and covered it. And it's exciting news. If you like this genre, if you want to see people like Henry Cavill, he's not the only one, that just want to tell stories. And when they adapt stories from a written work or a game or a graphic novel or a comic, whatever it ends up being, they just want to be faithful to the lore and tell the best stories. And for that reason, we've been fans of Henry Cavill. We want to see people like him get their projects out and be seen. And if they're good, we'll cover them.
Right.
If they're not, we won't. And so a lot of promise around Warhammer 40K. We wanted to bring that to you. What do you think about the news that Games Workshop has released today? Do you think they should do a movie and a series, both coming out around the same time? Do you think there should be a focus on one or the other? What do you think about Henry Cavill's involvement with it? Does that make you more likely to watch it than not? Let us know your thoughts. While you're doing that, make sure to smash that like button, leave us the comments, hit the notifications bell, and most importantly, hit subscribe so that we can continue to grow our channel and TCB.